top accolade global news update. I am Abiodun Mohammed. An Embraer Legacy 600 executive jet, believed to have carried Wagner mercenary chief Yevgeny Prigozhin to his death on Wednesday, showed no sign of problem until a precipitous drop in its final 30 seconds, according to flight tracking data. Rosaviatsia, Russia's aviation agency, said Prigozhin, who led an aborted mutiny in June, was one of 10 people on board the downed plane. It was traveling from Moscow to St. Petersburg when it crashed near the village of Kuzhenkino in the Tver Region, Russia's Emergency Situations Ministry said. At 3:30 p.m. GMT, the aircraft made a sudden downward vertical, said Ian Pechenik of Flight Radar 24. Within about 30 seconds, the aircraft had plummeted more than 8,000 feet from its cruising altitude of 28,000 feet. Whatever happened quickly, Pechenik said. They may have been wrestling with the aircraft after whatever happened, Pechenik said, but prior to its dramatic drop, there was no indication that there was anything wrong with this aircraft. Video showed the plane descending rapidly with its nose pointing almost straight downward and a plume of smoke or vapor behind it. Russian investigators opened a criminal probe to determine what happened. Some unnamed sources told Russian media they believed the plane had been shot down by one or more surface-to-air missiles. Japan on Thursday started releasing treated radioactive water from the wrecked Fukushima nuclear power plant into the Pacific Ocean, a polarizing move that prompted China to announce an immediate blanket ban on all seafood imports from Japan. China is, in quotes, highly concerned about the risk of radioactive contamination brought by Japan's food and agricultural products exported to China, the Chinese customs official said in a statement signed off 2 years ago by the Japanese government and approved by the UN nuclear watchdog last month. The discharge is a key step in a dauntingly long and difficult process of decommissioning the Fukushima Daiichi plant after it was destroyed by a tsunami. Plant operator Tokyo Electric Power (TEPCO) said the release began at 1:03 p.m. local time and it had not identified any abnormalities with the seawater pump or surrounding facilities. However, China reiterated on Thursday its firm opposition to the plan and said the Japanese government had not proved the legitimacy of the water discharge. Tokyo has in turn criticized China for spreading scientifically unfounded claims. The moon rover of India's Chandrayaan-3 exited the spacecraft on Thursday to begin its exploration of the lunar surface and conduct experiments to help future probes as the media hailed the historic landing as the country's biggest scientific feat. The spacecraft landed on the unexplored south pole of the moon on Wednesday evening, days after Russia's Luna 25 failed, making India the first country to achieve this feat. The soft textbook touchdown by the lander after a failed attempt in 2019 sparked widespread jubilation and celebration in the world's most populous country. ISRO chief S. Somanath said the Pragyan rover had 2 instruments to conduct element and chemical composition experiments, accomplished with a budget of about 6.15 billion rupees. This was India's second attempt to touch down on the moon. A previous mission in 2019, Chandrayaan-2, successfully deployed an orbiter, but its lander crashed. Leaders of the BRICS group of developing nations have invited Saudi Arabia, Iran, Ethiopia, Egypt, Argentina, and the United Arab Emirates to join in a move aimed at growing the clout of a bloc that has pledged to champion the global south. Expansion could also pave the way for dozens of interested countries to seek admission to BRICS at a time when geopolitical polarization is spurring efforts by Beijing and Moscow to forge it into a viable counterweight to the West. The new candidate members were announced by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, who is hosting a summit of BRICS leaders. The new candidates will be formally admitted as members on January 1, 2024. Ramaphosa and Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva left the door open to the possibility of admitting other new members in future. Lula said globalization's promises had failed, adding that it was time to revitalize cooperation with developing countries, as in quote, there is a risk of nuclear war, an apparent allusion to growing tensions between Russia and the West over the Ukraine conflict. An anti-terrorism court in Pakistan has allowed the police to interrogate and arrest Imran Khan in a case related to the attack on an army building during the protest that followed the former Prime Minister's brief arrest on corruption charges in May this year. Khan, aged 70, is currently serving a 3-year jail sentence following his conviction earlier this month in another corruption case. He denies the charges and alleges he is being targeted by the government to prevent him from contesting the forthcoming national elections. On Wednesday, the Anti-Terrorism Court in Lahore City gave its approval after the police filed an application seeking to question Khan over the storming of the so-called Jinnah House, the official residence of a top military commander in the city, after Khan was picked up by the paramilitary troopers from the premises of the Islamabad High Court on May 9th. Thousands of his angry supporters hit the streets, attacking government and military installations and demanding his release. In one such attack, dozens of people entered the residence of a military commander in Lahore and set a part of it on fire. Pakistani authorities allege people belonging to Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf PTI party stormed the building in a state crackdown that followed the protest. Thousands of PTI leaders and workers were arrested, many of whom still remain behind bars. That is the size of top accolade global news update. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy Thursday.